All right, so we're going to do some work, just some awareness around your pelvis. And I showed you the pelvis last Friday. I'll show it to you again, because I'm going to, at times, I'm going to ask you to find the core of the pelvis, the core of your pelvis. So where's the center? And this is not the pelvic floor itself. This is not the pelvic floor. It's going to be, it's above the pelvic floor. If we think of it being above the pelvic floor and more towards the center, the middle. You know, we never go there, right? We don't think about what. It's kind of like, you know, one of my teachers would ask me, Lynn, when you're doing this, find the uterus. And I'm like, my uterus, my gosh. Or this, where, wow. And why I could connect to it on more on one side of my body than on the other side of my body. But anyway, you're going to get used to figuring out, and we did this in class, probably, maybe it was last fall or something. But anyway, core of the pelvis, center of the pelvis. And then the other place I want you to be aware of in your body is, you know, where is your tailbone? Where's your tailbone area? Where are your sit bones? Where are your sit bones? There's a space between the tail and the sit bone. There's a region between the tail, the sit bone, and the center of your pelvis, the core of your pelvis. You have to get inside yourself here. And then you're also, where is, you know, your pubic bone and your sit bone. Look at the sit bone is it's big. It's also wide. But the landmarks you're going to work with today are going to be center of the pelvis, center of your pelvis, your tailbone to your sit bone. Sometimes you'll reach from the center of your pelvis to the space between the tail and the sit bone, this whole area, like a triangle. Or you'll think about, where's the pubic bone? Where's the sit bone? Where's the core of the pelvis? Right side, left side, okay?
I have a question, Lynn. This is
Okay.
Bella.
Yeah.
Could you show us again the core of the pelvis? Is that on the sacrum?
It's the core. Let me talk about what it's going to be. It's going to be, if seated right now, I want to get a sense of where is my sacrum? When I'm sitting right now, where is my sacrum? Where is, we can often find the back of the sacrum. Where's the front of the sacrum? Okay, so where's the front of your sacrum? And where's your pubic bone? Where's the front of your pubic bone, the inside of your pubic bone? And if you went to a midway point between the front of the sacrum and the front of the pubic bone, where is that in you?
Okay, yeah. That really helps.
Good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, and so I go, wow, as I take my seat now, and I get this sense of where are my pubic bones, because I have the right and the left. Where is the front of the sacrum and seated? Where's the center of the pelvis? So this is above. You could use the perineum, right? The perineum, if you go up from the perineum, you go up from that center of the pelvic floor and come up from there. Come up from the pelvic floor. And where is your, so you found your pubic bones, your sit bones, your tailbone, and the center of your pelvis. And the only other thing I'll mention is just that the pelvis is shaped, again, there's a bowl of the pelvis, you know, where these iliac bones, these two pelvic bones flare out, but then they come down and form more like a, you know, a whole cylinder of the pelvis. So there's a very much a shape like this that comes down towards the pubic bone and such. So, you know, the core is going to be up higher, not the pelvic floor itself. All right. Gobbledy. If it just sounds like gobbledygook, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Don't let it hijack you into, you know, freaking out and getting just completely overwhelmed. Just go ahead and close your eyes. Rest your hands in your lap. Find the ground. Lengthen your spine. And begin to deepen your breath. And I like to begin, I really enjoy beginning with the Ujjayi breathing and a 1-to-1 ratio of the inhale to the exhale. And of course, noticing the pause between the inhale and the exhale and the inhale. And as every other time when I come and take my seat, I'm also working with that smooth quality of both the inhale and the exhale. And at the bottom of your next exhale, release any control on your breathing. Join your hands together in front of your heart. we'll begin by chanting the sound of Om. So that vibration of sound coming all the way from deep in the pelvis, all the way up toward the roof of your mouth. Take a deep inhale. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. And with your next exhale, bow your head towards your heart. Release your hands. And lift your gaze. All right. Let me just put this on. Okay. Let's see. Let's go ahead and come
Hey,
all the
Lynn.
way to standing.
Hey,
Okay.
Lynn,
Yeah.
your audio got much quieter.
Oh, how sad.
I don't know if anybody else was affected. It could be me.
Yeah. I noticed it too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's see.
It went off for just a second and then it
Oh,
came back on.
really?
It
And I
came
don't
back
know.
softer.
Let me try something. I don't know if this plug will work on this computer if I tried using a different speaker. Does it still sound weird?
No, no, it's okay.
It's okay right now.
It's okay at the moment. I kind of don't think with the computer I'm using that this external speaker will work. I'll try it. Oh, the details of Zoom, I tell you.
You're totally back to normal now, though.
Yeah, you are. Totally.
Okay. Yeah, last Friday when my students went into Shavasana, I was sitting, meditating. I opened my eyes and they were all gone. It had completely. Let me try. I want to just try. Let me see if, oh, it's not going to pick up this other speaker. So, well, we'll give it a go. You can let me know. And I don't know if I can fix it. But at any rate, the good news was that when I went back to getting, it took me 5 minutes to get back in when it dumped me out. And when I got back, my students were still in Shavasana. It was so sweet. I was like, and there I was like, oh my God, I've been gone the whole time. All right, go ahead, come up to standing. I'll speak loudly.
Oh, really, you're fine now, Lynn.
Okay, goody. All right, let's bring our blocks to the top of your mat. I know my head's cut off right now, but that's all right. Bring your hands in front of your heart. It's an illusion. Reach down into the ground. Notice where your sit bones are. Where's the weight in your feet? So there's two things. How does the weight fall into your footprints? And can you get a sense of where your sit bones are in relationship to your heels? And then go ahead and shift your weight forward toward the toes. And where do the sit bones go? You feel them tuck up and under a little bit. And then bring the sit bones back. So you're just bringing the pelvis back. And notice where the weight goes in the heels. The toes become lighter on the ground. It's not that the toes aren't touching the ground, but they're relaxed on the floor. They're not gripping. All right, let's inhale and lift both arms. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, step your right foot back. Make sure to take your blocks back with you so you're not having to reach way forward for the blocks. So you can have hands on your blocks, right foot is back. All right. So from the, see if you can find the center of the pelvis. And from the center, can you reach all the way toward that area from, let's say, perineum to pubic bone to the front of the sit bone? From the center of the pelvis, can you reach back to that area? The center not being the perineum, the center of the pelvis above that, the core of the pelvis above that. And can that reach continue down the inner thigh of the back leg? And on the front leg, can you stay connected between the tailbone to the sit bone on the front leg? And then let's inhale, step forward. Exhale, left leg back. We're just bringing your felt sense to the space from the center of the pelvis, and then reaching it back towards the space between pubic bone, front of the sit bone, and perineum. On the front leg, I do want to be a little connected between my sit bone, a little bit between my tailbone, and back up to the center of the pelvis. So a little opposite on the forward leg. And of course, Nancy and Lise, we're still paying attention on the front leg. What's that fibula doing? Is it rolling in? Keep it rolled in. Then we're going to inhale, step forward. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, right foot back again. Reaching from the center of my pelvis to a space that's between right pubic bone, front of the right sitting bone. And let's go upright. Take a deep breath in. Inhale the arms back out. Exhale, bow forward. Now you're going to step your back foot in, not all the way. You're going to step it part way in, so maybe 12 inches or 8 inches. You could take your blocks tall, if they're not, and bring the right heel to the floor. Both legs are straight. Both legs are straight. And I'm going to bow forward here. As much as whatever my hamstrings will allow. I'm reaching back into the back heel and releasing forward. So you can take the back foot in as much as you would like in order to root back through the right heel. So it's a nice stretch of the calf. And on the front leg, I'm going to release from that tailbone to sit bone, the perineum there, all the way up to the core of the pelvis on my front leg, the left one. All right, then we're going to inhale, step forward. Exhale, left leg back. This is the lunge. Low lunge with the hands down. Inhale, let's come upright. We'll inhale the arms out. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, step the back foot forward just enough to get a little more rooted through the left heel. And on my front leg, because I can really get a sense of where is the tailbone on the right, the inner right sit bone, and all the way I'm going to try to release toward the center of the pelvis that we talked about at the beginning. Breathing deeply. Practicing your Ujjayi breath. I like having my hands on my two tall blocks if I need that length in order to have my legs straight. Good, and the back of the neck can be completely released. All right, and then we'll bend the front knee and step the back foot forward. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, fold forward again. So you're in your Uttanasana, and let's shift the weight a little forward. So you might end up sliding your blocks forward or your dog forward. Just shift the weight a little forward so that it's going to bring the weight is a little more towards the ball of the foot. My hips are more over my heels instead of behind them. And from here, I'll see about bowing forward again. And then I'm going to shift the weight back so I can slide my hands back and inhale, come all the way back up. And exhale, hands back in front of the heart. And then release both arms. Okay, let's grab a blanket. Diego, can I have one of your blankets? Come here. Here, Diego. I have those blankets. I'm gonna take, so you're gonna take here you go, buddy. One of your blankets and fold it so it'll cushion your back knee. Put that on your mat. Let's come down. Oh, that feels great on my knees. Oh my gosh. So I'm kneeling on these cushioned blanket. I've got my blocks. And I'm going to step my left foot forward. And then exhale, let the left knee go forward of the left ankle. So again, from the core of the pelvis, from the center of the pelvis, I'm going to reach toward right pubic bone and front of the right sit bone. And then I'm going to take my blocks taller. So I've still got that happening. And also on the back leg, I'm going to go from my tail to my sit bone and reach that up towards the center of my pelvis. So there's two different directions going on. From the center of the pelvis on the right, one of them is reaching toward the right pubic bone, the right inner sit bone. This is from the core. And then from the right sit bone to the tail, back up to the core. This is going to give me a little lift. I can still have, we've been talking about a little tone between the right inner hip and the right pubic bone. And then we'll exhale, release, switch sides. Right foot forward. I'll slide my blocks forward and my right knee forward of my right ankle. All right, so first I'm going to go from where is the center of my pelvis? Where inside of myself? And what happens when I reach from that center to my left pubic bone and left inner sit bone? And then can you find where's the left side of your tailbone? Where's the left sit bone? And can you reach from there up to the center of the pelvis? You might block back of your blocks. And then we'll exhale, release. And we're going to let's take downward facing dog with our hands on our blocks. Since we haven't stretched out our calves that much, we did a little. When I take my hands on my blocks, I can let my fingers wrap around my blocks. I'm not worried about that. I'm going to press down on the blocks and take the hips up and back. And here, I'm going to experiment with, if I go to the center of my pelvis again, and I reach from there toward that space between perineum, sit bone, and tailbone. From the center of the pelvis, I'm reaching towards the space between my perineum, sit bone, and tailbone on both sides. Great. All right. I'll go ahead and move my blanket out of the way. And let's step forward. And come all the way up to standing. And hands back in front of the heart. And then we're going to take a wide stance and turn your right foot out and your left foot in. Right foot out and your left foot in. We're going to warrior two. Right foot out, left foot in. Inhale, the arms wide. And exhale, warrior two. So you can notice what happens if you go from the center of the pelvis on the front leg, center of the pelvis towards your, that space between tailbone and sit bone. What happens to the spine? If you were really forward, does it bring your spine a little more vertical? So you're rising up out of the spine. Let's relax the back arm and inhale, rising warrior. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, straighten front leg. And we'll spin the feet the other way. Inhale the arms out. Exhale, warrior two. Can I go from the center of the pelvis towards that space between left inner tailbone and sit bone? Relax the back arm in, inhale, rising. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, straighten front leg. Make the feet parallel. If you know you need blocks, you're going to take a wide-legged forward fold. So you can bring your blocks around to the front. And let's inhale, hands on the hips. Exhale, bow forward. We're going to take the hands into downward dog arms. So legs are straight, feet are parallel. And again, from that space between the sit bones, tailbone, and up towards the core of the pelvis, reach from that space. And you might just check, Elizabeth, how wide are your feet? I can't tell exactly, but I'm just wondering. Deep breathing. Right, yeah. Lengthening all the way to the hands. And then let's walk the hands back. Shift them up to the hips. And step the feet back together. Mountain pose. And just for a moment, just want to be curious about that space. Even just in standing, this is a little different area. I want to be curious about the space from my skin at the outer greater trochanter, from the skin all the way towards the bone. I'm just curious. I'm just feeling into it. All the way to the center of my pelvis. And from the two sides, I'm also, just from inside, I'm getting a sense of how are my two sides different, if they are. Maybe you notice like some sort of habitual holding of space between the skin to the bone at the outer hip, all the way through the pelvis to the center. if there's a way that I can release some of that holding right now and just allow my body's own intelligence to reorganize, make a little change. And then let's open the eyes. Let's step the feet apart for triangle pose. So what is the width for your triangle? About the length of one of your arms. We'll go to your right again. So we might need 1 or 2 blocks at your right outer shin, ankle. Let's inhale the arms out. And both legs are straight. So as you exhale, let's take backhand on the hip. Now, can you reach from the center of the pelvis towards that space between left sit bone, left tailbone? And then, what about if you went from the tailbone to the pubic bone on the right and lifted back up towards the core? What happens to the spine? If you like, lift the arm up. And then let's inhale and come up. And let's go to your second side. Right foot out, left foot in. You can move your block over there. Start with it at any height or take them both. Inhale the arms wide when you're ready. Exhale. I like taking my backhand to my hip. And if I reach from the center of my pelvis to that space between left sit bone to tailbone, and then from the left pubic bone to the left inner sit bone, all the way back up to the core. What happens? Do you feel the ability there to turn the thoracic spine towards the sky? And then maybe once the thoracic spine is turned, I might feel inclined to reach my arm up. Or I might explore, where is my head? Is the front leg straight? Linda Valentine, is your left leg straight? And it could be the camera angle. There you go. Yeah. That's it. And Carol, can you reach out your right arm a little more, with a little more energy, a little more of the right? Yeah, through the fingers. Good. And then we'll inhale and come up. We'll step the feet back together. Let's inhale, lift both arms. And exhale, bow forward. Inhale halfway. Exhale, we'll bow forward, bend both knees, and come to the ground. So I want to give you a couple options for opening the front of the thigh. For opening the front of the thigh. So one of the options is going to be half Supta Virasana. So Ardha Supta Virasana. If you already know what that means for you in regards to props, you can go there. I can give you an example. I'm going to take, if I take 2 blocks end to end, and then I take a blanket on top of those, fold it lengthwise. This is one option. Put that on there. Another one is the same. If I have a bolster, I am really loving that bolster. So at home, I mean, I can use just my bolster. But you might need blocks, bolster, blankets, bees. I might fold a blanket or grab one of my pillows, if I have pillows, and put that up here. So when I come into half Supta Virasana, I'm going to I'm in front of my stack. I'm not going to sit on it, but I am going to lean back and take 1 foot forward. And then I've got my right heel is outside of my right hip. My left foot is on the ground, and now I'm going to come back. I'm going to keep my right knee down. So this would be one example of a half. Should I show you the other side? Would that be easier? If this one is down, there's that version. I want to lengthen out. I'm really opening the front of the thigh. If you're in and I'm not sitting my pelvis down, I'm gonna lift, right? I'm gonna lift from the core of my pelvis to my left inner pubic bone, all the way to the left sit bone. Yahoo. Now, if some of you are like, well, then that is just, I can't do that. Then what you might do is take a blanket or 2. Let's take 2. Let's go blanket. So you can do a half Supta Virasana, feel free. Otherwise, I'm going to take a couple blankets, my blocks, my knee up on the blanket, my foot up the wall or on a piece of furniture, and the other foot forward. And open the front of my thigh this way. So I can take either version. All right? Great. If you have a question, you can ask it. I'm going to come over and see if I can be of any help. But I am going to encourage you to have some support for the head, please. Make sure the head is supported so that your forehead does not need to drop below your chin. So see if you can give yourself enough, use your cat to help you. And then if you're in half Supta Virasana, if you are in half Supta Virasana, go to the center of the pelvis. Oh, I didn't talk about, but let's say if your right leg is back, from the center of the pelvis, start to reach towards that area of the right pubic bone and sit bone. You should feel your pelvis lift when you do that reach. The pelvis lifts up. If you're at the wall, if you have your foot up on a piece of furniture or your foot up the wall, you're also going to reach from the center of the pelvis. If the right foot is back, you're going to reach from the center of the pelvis to the right inner pubic bone and the right sit bone. And the blocks can be, blocks can be at any height. And how's your breath? How's the quality of your breathing?
So Lynn?
Yeah.
My pelvis is like
Lifted.
2 or 3 inches off the floor. Is that right?
Wonderful.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like that opens the front of that hip then, Pat?
I wouldn't be able to be in this position if it wasn't off the floor.
Yes, no, I want it completely lifted. You're doing great. And that from that center of the pelvis, it's okay, sweet dog. You're so sweet. You're still reaching towards that inner left pubic bone, inner left sit bone. Very nice. All right. That looks great. Shall we switch sides?
And the pelvis stays level.
We're in half Virasana. It's pretty level. It's pretty level. I mean, granted, the two legs are doing different things. So it's not, it's pretty level, but there is, a rotation in those two areas. So they are a little different. So if I'm coming down into half Virasana, half Supta Virasana, second side, and then if I've got my right foot on the floor and my left foot back, again, all of us, where's the core of the pelvis? Where is the center of your pelvis? And from the center of the pelvis, whichever leg is back on you, whether it's in the lunge or in the Virasana leg, you're going to reach from the center of the pelvis to that inner pubic bone and all the way around to that sit bone. It's like there's like a little triangle there between the sit bone, the tail, and the perineum, or the sit bone, the pubic bone, and the perineum. And you're reaching from the core on the forward leg. On you guys in the back leg, you're reaching from the core to your back leg. Sorry, all of them are the leg that's down and back. You probably figured that out because you're so smart. Great. Take one more deep breath. And then you'll exhale, you'll come out, you'll roll to one side. And you're gonna make your way to either downward facing dog or puppy pose. Downward dog or puppy. In downward dog pose, are you reaching from the core of the pelvis to that space between perineum, sit bone, and tailbone? From the core of the pelvis, back to that space between perineum, sit bone, and tailbone. So that back space is smaller than the forward space. But when you reach back there, you might feel how the pelvis goes, oh, it's back, right? All right, and then take child's pose, please. All right, and then we'll walk ourselves up out of child's pose, and we're gonna take an upper back opener. So let's take our two blocks end to end again. Blanket over the top. Folded, kind of like you had probably for your Virasana, if you did that. I like taking one more blanket and with the same fold. So this is the typical Lynn upper back opener kind of thing. And then for some of us too, we like a little support for the neck. So what we might do is just take a blanket out in front of that stack. That's just got kind of an extra little roll in it because it might help transition, as if the whole stack were a little wider, but this is soft. So that when you come back and over, you've got the shoulder blades up on those blocks, hands behind the head, and you're not in a hurry, but you're coming up and over those blocks. I can keep my hands behind my head the whole time, or I might find a way that it feels very fine to let it go and reach my arms overhead. And I'm going to take my arms, I'm going to let them be about the width of my yoga mat. And then I'll bring, if my hands are overhead, I'm going to put them behind my head. Lift my chin towards my chest. Straighten one of my legs. And come up to sitting. All right, and I'm going to take my props out of the way. Now, I might like some padding on my yoga mat, so I'm going to take one of my blankets and open it up so I can have padding. And I like smoothing it all out. And some of you might want a strap here. I'll show you. We're going to bow pose. So some of you might like the strap. I'm just going to have it, I don't think I need a loop. I'm just going to have it as a tail. Let's see. If I lie down on my blanket, bend my knees, what I'm wondering, let's see, I might have to fix this before I lay back, huh? Take the strap around my ankles, strap in one hand. Let me see. Aha. See if I can figure this out. Strap in. Lynn, is my strap long enough? I hope I didn't make it into a big X. There. Okay, so I've got my strap. It's going to go around my ankles if I need it. Some of you won't need it. But there it is. And I'm going to wrap it around my wrist if I'm going to use a strap. And reach from this core of the pelvis to pubic bone, sit bone. So I'm coming bow pose. And this is if I can't reach my feet. And then I'll release. That's my, I got a little off my blanket, but that's my version of not being able to, if I can't reach my feet version. And then a rest. Okay. Are we ready to do one together? So bend both knees. If you can reach your ankles, grab onto your ankles. And this version, often I'll go thumb up, which is fine. You can either go thumb up, which means the thumb finds the ball of the foot. And then either having my strap or having my feet or my ankles, I'm going to reach from the core of my pelvis to the pubic bones, all the way around to the sit bones. And then release and rest. Stack the hands, rest your forehead. All right, before you do the next one, let me just tell you the area again. Before you do the next one, I want you to get a sense. Let me explain this. In a moment, you're going to be, one, reaching from core of the pelvis to the pubic bone and the front of the sit bone. And then from the other part of the sit bone to the tailbone, you'll reach back to the core. That's going to help you find more support for the front of your spine. You ready? Bend both knees, grab onto your strap, your ankles, your feet, and then find your breath. And first, reach from the core of the pelvis to the sit bone to tailbone perineum area. And then from the pubic bone to sit bone, perineum, back to the core of the body. These two directions. Good, at least that looks great. That's a great idea, and the same sort of reach. Yeah, you could be doing Sphinx pose, is a great choice. Exhale, release, stack the hands, rest. If you had your head turned as opposed to resting your forehead, you're welcome to turn the head the other way. If you have your forehead resting, fine. All of you, please, deep breathing. Deep breathing. So we try it again. Last one. 3 is the magic number. So reach the arms back. Grabbing on. You might have the hands turned thumb up. You might have just a hold of the ankles. You might have your strap. Gosh, wish I could help you. Core of the pelvis. Reach to the pubic bone. That area between pubic bone, perineum, sit bone. And then from the sit bone, tailbone, perineum, back up to the core. So these two directions. There you go. Where's the base of the skull? Float the base of the skull up. Lift the top of the breastbone. Great. And release. Nice. Great. And let's take a few more deep breaths there. You're in Makarasana. And then slide the hands back and press yourself to child's pose. And then let's walk all the way back up. Let's grab a blanket to sit upon. We're going to take Ardha Matsyendrasana 2. So we're going to sit on a blanket. We'll have a strap. We'll take your left leg straight, your right foot to either the inner knee, or if you sit in lotus pose, you can take like half lotus. I cannot, my knees won't let me, knee and hip. And I notice I need just a little lift here to go under this knee. That's because it's not flat on the floor. I'm going to take my strap and have a little loop in it. That's going to go over my straight leg foot. I'm going to take the strap off to the bent knee hip. Reach the left arm behind you. Grab the strap. Right hand reaches forward to the strap. And on the bent knee side, I'm gonna reach from my tailbone, sit bone, perineum, all the way up to my core. What does this do for the twist? From the right sit bone, if the right knee's bent, right tailbone, sit bone, perineum to the core. Exhale back to center. Let's switch sides. Right foot to inner knee. I can shore up that space between my bent knee side. Strap over the foot. Tail of strap behind me. Straight arm, my straight leg arm. I'm going to reach it behind. Grab onto the tail. Your left arm forward. Grab onto the strap, or maybe you grab your foot. And from the left tailbone, inner left sit bone, perineum, reach all the way up to the center of your pelvis. And don't stop. Exhale, come back to center. We'll take that strap off, both legs straight. Sit your strap off to the side and give your knees a little love. Okay, so now I'm just going to change my seat just a little. I'm going to take the blanket that I was sitting on and I'm going to fold it into a bit more of a square, like that. I'm going to put a point of that on my blanket. So I'm going to sit here. And if my hips will let me, I'm going to take, it'll be maybe your left leg, if I'm mirroring you, and the right foot towards that inner perineum. So if I can take my legs into wide apart, so we're going to take a revolved Janu Shirshasana. And so, some of you, the hips will let you do that more oblique and open shape. Then you're going to take your left hand, walk it down the inner left leg towards the left shin or foot or ankle. And on the bent knee side, from your right tailbone, inner right sit bone, perineum of the pelvis, reach up to the core. That should give you a little more length. And you might reach right arm overhead. Let the right sit bone become lighter and lighter as you reach. As you reach from your left tailbone, left inner sit bone, all the way up to the core of the pelvis. And then let's inhale, come up. Let's support the straight leg with your hand and take your other side. All right. So you're going to walk your right hand down the inseam of the left leg. And then from the outer left tailbone, inner left sit bone, reach up to the core. You might reach your arm up. You'll feel that sit bone also become lighter on the prop. It'll lift up entirely, probably, from your prop. Yeah. Good. That's great. That's great. These look nice. Yeah. So I feel that left sit bone get lighter. My left shoulder, I don't mind when my left shoulder blade wraps all the way around my rib cage, like side angle pose, and comes forward towards the front body. So there we go. That's it. Yay. And then let's inhale and come back up. Let's straighten, let's support the bent knee, bring it back up, bring both legs together, both legs straight for a moment. And again, you're welcome to reach down the legs along the inner knee, outer knee. Okay. And now we're going to come down to the ground to happy baby. So you'll come down to the floor, knees up to the chest to start. And then we'll take knees a little wider, grab onto either backs of the thighs, the shins. Usually if I go to the shins, I have my elbows inside my knees. And then maybe I go to my little toe side of my foot. And then I'm going to bring knees wide, soles of the feet toward each other. They do not need to touch. I'm going to slide my hands to my shins or ankles. My elbows are inside my knees. And my feet are probably at least 5 inches apart. They vary. I might go to 2 inches, but I'm not concerned about them finding each other. They might find each other, but it's not critical to me right now. I can bring my attention also to my to the knees, right? I could go to the outer knees and see if I can broaden the outer knees and narrow a little at the inner knee. And then I'll bring my knees back together, my feet back to the ground. And then I'm going to come down to Shavasana. You can take any shape of Shavasana that you would like this morning. And then allowing your breath to deepen. It's beginning to awaken your body to movement. Make a mindful transition over to one side. And then use the support of your arms to come back up to sitting. Bring your hands in front of your heart. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. Let's see, I'm just going to stop the recording.